bring to the table the fact that Korea, okay, in 1948 was at the same level of Ghana, technically or otherwise, GPN, GNP and otherwise. Now, what happened to Korea 50 years later? They are 50 times more than Ghana that was at the same time like them. African countries have renegated themselves into arguments rather than bringing progressive policies to help the technicians grow. The middle class, when we mean middle class, we don't mean middle class administrators, we mean middle class technicians that are bringing in value to the GNP. Administrators don't bring value to the GNP, they are just part of the government. Africans are far more in governance and corruption than actually developing their economic environment to help technicians thrive. Technicians are the greatest ingredient to any economic development in Africa today and even in the future. I am talking because I'm in the IT field and I know. In 1990 here in America, we control technology. Today, I'm in the Bank of America, that's the largest bank in the world. I now find out that 3/4 of the technicians or the architects, the programmers are all from India. Notwithstanding, Indian population of almost 1 billion people. If one-tenth of the population are technicians, we cannot boast of 1/10 of our population to be real technicians. We are boasting of 1/10 to be technicians that are being technicians by papers. We are not encouraging them in anything to develop their technical abilities. Africa should look at developing these technicians to do innovative ideas to bring value to the economic development. Economic development is not by paper. We have brought paper work in the economic development and we have not seen exactly where Africa is going. We have relegated ourselves to developing more value in an American economy. And we know by forecast, I'm just trying to repeat what Wolfenson said 2 days ago. By 2050, the world's economy will be looking at 65% of revenue coming to Asia. Where is Africa? Africa will not be talking about even 5% of the world's economy.
Yes.
And then if an African country seems to thrive into 1.1% of the world's economy, they start boasting as if they've done so much. That's thriving in mediocrity. African countries need to start thinking about how they can develop policies to help the business environment to grow.
Yes.
Not administrative environment. We are building schools to administrate. Time is past for administration. Now it's innovation. I said it last time. In 5 years, if Africans cannot develop technologically, we'll be 100% back in technology, and therefore we'll be 100 years behind the rest of the world in productivity. Thank you.
One of the main points today is like we really noticed that between Africa's government and the diaspora is like a deep separation. People are not really linked with their country. Once they are outside, it's like there's nothing really connecting them with the government and helping them to get kind of relationship to be involved in the development of our different countries in Africa. What do you think that we can do to try to bring these two people together? I mean that diaspora, African diaspora and their government, respective government in their different countries. Because this is one of the points that we really have to point out here too.
Yeah, I want to take that. Initially, African dissidents were accepted in the West as political refugees. And gradually, smart students in Africa were accepted in Western universities. But there is that perception in Africa that those who are outside of the country are either dissidents or the guys who are against the government. Mm-hmm. And if that mindset doesn't change, mm-hmm. if the perception of a native who lives abroad doesn't change, Africa will move forward. If the contribution of somebody who's outside, he might see things differently, but he must be accepted as part and parcel of the development of the country. So that perception has to change. That's the first thing. The second thing I will talk about is we have to provide, there is development, talking about training of technicians. It's a big deal, training of technicians. But the home government, what do they have to do? Provide a legal framework within which technicians who are trained abroad have to be integrated into the local economy. And second, the local governments have to take the initiative because there's an absence of a private sector. If I say an absence, it's an overstatement. But I think the private sector is still developing. But the government has the upper hand here to take the initiative to train local talent to be technicians, provide them support, provide them incentives, encourage them that there will be jobs after school. And if those initiatives come in place and they provide the legal framework where technicians are not, you know, when I talk about the legal framework, you know, the rules and the laws compensate them more, then we're better off. I might be open long and winding, but that's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, if I have to add anything, the point is that people have tried, Africans from the diaspora have tried to come in with contributions. I know a case in point where there's a Cameroonian who was working in the foreign service, not foreign service, in the international organization, who came in with a blueprint for development. So went to the government, saw a minister who sent him to a government director. As soon as the blueprint reached the desk of the director, he put it in his drawer and that disappeared. The idea was lost. So those things don't help in developing African countries. And again, I also noticed that despite the fact that 50 years ago, Africa's industrialization capacity was high, it has regressed. Africa has regressed industrially. I will take Nigeria for an example. That's a country that used to produce. But right now, Nigeria is nowhere. So Africa regresses. In this case, African countries are 50 years behind times. If Nigeria can slow down, then Cameroon is worse off. Because even in my eyes, I was in Cameroon when industries were closing. About 30 years ago, if you were in Douala, you'll see how the place was bustling. But today, if you go there, the number of companies that are there, 1/10 what was present 30 years ago. So all these things, we have to change our mentality. Africa needs a new order. We need an industrial revolution in Africa. We have never had one. We've never had a boom in Africa, despite the fact that we have resources. So we have all the manpower to do that. We have the intellectuals to do that. All we need is good faith between those at the helm of affairs in Africa and Africans in the diaspora. We don't need to take Western ideas to Africa. We have to tailor our ideas to meet the essence of Africa. The culture of a place determines whatever technology you want to take to the place. Even politically, you don't take American democracy and plant in Cameroon.
Yes.
Because wherever you have human beings, you always have flaws. Even in America, democracy is relative.